we spoke a little bit about Man City, and I just want to talk about that Man City versus Liverpool, and maybe stress a little bit more on Liverpool. Like, what's happening with them? Are Liverpool shit? You know what I'm saying? What's going on with the title race in terms of Liverpool and Man City? Talk to me, Anton.
Shall we really talk about it? Because you know where I'm going with this. Look, guys, I tried to warn you. Everybody who was like, Liverpool had the best summer, they're going to be untouchable. The champions, they added Isak, they added Wirtz, they had the best window, they won the window. No, they did not. And this is why I felt that way. As I said, guys, just because you buy good players doesn't mean that you've bought the players that you need. And for me, they did not buy the players that they needed to fulfill what Arne Slot's system was. And I was like, they needed center backs. They didn't get center backs. They needed probably a different option at fullback that was a little bit more defensive and less flying up the pitch, that they can have alternatives that they could turn to against different types of tactics. So now you kind of got like four fullbacks who are super, super attacking. I'm talking about as well Robertson and Bradley as well. Like they're a little bit more defensive, but they're still high flying, bombing fullbacks. They need a little bit more protection in the middle, a bit more depth in midfield as well. Like behind Gravenberch and McAllister, it's Curtis Jones and Endo. And they didn't replace some key players that were important to their team that they lost. And I'm talking about, I know for Diego Jota, rest his soul, right? You can't necessarily argue with what Isak and Ekitike's replacements for Jota and Darwin, but I'm talking about Luis Diaz.
Yeah.
And the role that Luis Diaz played in terms of leading the press for them, and in terms of kind of being the instigator and the main creative force from the left-hand side. And as good of a player as Cody Gakpo is, he isn't that. And in fact, I've noticed that Liverpool fans have criticized him more than anybody else in the team. And I think there are a lot of different people that you can blame. I think you could blame Edwards and Hughes, the board. And by the way, I heard Terry say it yesterday to Mo, but I was saying it about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I started out in a heated debate with the Liverpool fans, and everybody was talking shit about me in the comments section. But I said, you tried to fix something that wasn't broken. And sometimes when you do that and you're adding too many egos into your locker room, or you're trying new things on the fly after winning something, sometimes you just got to keep it a little bit settled. And but here's the thing that Slot, I think, is culpable for. That now that they have brought in the players that they have brought in, he hasn't adjusted to set up a system that works to their strength. And then after not doing that, he then gives up on them. Like, for instance, Kirkez, who I thought, would be the most seamless transition into their team. He's had a terrible start to the season, and he's given up on him. And now Robertson's playing every single week. And, Florian Wirtz has been pulled out of the fire many times. You got to let Florian Wirtz play. One thing I'll credit Arteta in is that Gyökeres has had a tough start to the season, and he's persisted with Gyökeres every single week to allow him to kind of get used to the league. And you can see week after week after week him growing in confidence and familiarity.
But I think that's also because Havertz was injured. Havertz being injured meant that he just got more.
Yeah, of course. So look, they're a very talented team, but I don't necessarily think that they were built in a singular way. Like, for instance, when you look at our players, the players we bought, you kind of knew what purpose each of them was. Even Madueke, who we were like, Madueke, what the fuck? Once you saw all the 8 signings and saw where they all fit in, it made sense.
Yeah, it made
sense.
Like
everyone plays a role in what they're trying to do. And Liverpool's situation, I didn't feel that way. Like, let's be honest, right? What was the role of buying 130 million pounds on Isak when you've already got an Ekitike young player who, by the way, has adjusted to the league and taken to it really well? And now, what was the point of that? You could have had an Ekitike playing and building. He was already scoring before they bought Isak.
The
By the
thing
way,
is,
he
okay,
scored on
okay.
debut against Bournemouth. You know what I
They,
mean? Like,
I don't think Ekitike and Isak was the problem, because maybe the prices were, because Ekitike was like 90 million and Isak
yeah,
was like 150, which is insane. Um, so they damn near almost spent 300 million on just strikers, because Jota passed, and Nunes was just didn't cut the mustard. He needed to go. What I probably disagree with is probably the profiles. They got two strikers that kind of do the same thing. So they don't have two different profiles.
they
They
don't have
don't
any
have.
plan B.
They don't like. And at least Darwin Nunes. What Darwin Nunes did is that he had pace, and that's something I don't think, like space physicality. I don't think Isak and Ekitike has that, even though they're really good. Second of all, I think they got too many players that need the ball. There was a guy that was on Mo's channel, for the
Oh boy, we're
Jamal.
talking about
Big ups to him.
Salah as well.
Yeah, he was saying, I can't remember his name. He's a Chelsea fan, and he basically said, this is the funniest thing he said. Like, they had a Liverpool fan on there, and he was saying, like, hey guys, it's one ball. Like, guys, like, we need to relax. There's one ball on the pitch, not 50 balls. It's not, it's not. Isaac doesn't have his own ball. Ekitike doesn't have his own ball. Salah doesn't have his own ball. It's only one ball, and that's the problem with Liverpool right now. I feel like there's too many players that need the ball. like like how is Salah supposed to? How is Woods going to be useful if Salah's the one that has to be the engine who's creating for the team? Woods needs the ball. Like, if you have Woods in your team, he has to be the engine, the creative engine. It's like imagine if for some reason Odegaard was starting every game, and we put another 10 next to Odegaard that's even more ball dominant than him, who wants to progress the ball more than Odegaard. And it's
we tried that in a game, it didn't work. We put remember the game against which one was it where he came off early? It was West Ham, right? We tried that.
Oh no,
we tried playing Eze with Odegaard together and didn't work.
No, but
Odegaard to get injured.
But to be honest, I would like to try that again. I would say this: Eze doesn't need to carry the ball, at least. Or at least in that instance, it's a bit more balanced, because if you play with the DM, and then you have Odegaard's going to be the main ball dominant guy, you have a destroyer DM, and then you have, like, say, because Declan Rice is playing as like a destroyer DM in that game, and then you have Eze, who's not ball dominant, and he doesn't progress the ball, which is why I don't think he works for us as a 10, by the way, as the sole 10 in the team.
Well, hey, maybe we just had to shut some people up and let him go back onto the left.
To be honest, I wanted to see it happen, but now that I've seen it, I don't like it. Because whenever he progresses the ball, he's ball dominant. Eze isn't ball dominant. You give him the ball in a spot, and he dribbles or he shoots. Like,
he's not much of a playmaker, is he?
He's not a ball carrier. He is a playmaker. He's just not a ball carrier. And
to be honest, though, I mean, Eze can carry the ball distances, like with the ball at his feet, like just not in the way that you're not down the heart of the pitch.
Yeah,
that's why both me and you were like screaming at all those people who are trying to tell us he's central, and we're like, no, he's not. He is left-sided. We both,
and he doesn't work, and he can't do that with Arsenal because we're clogged. Like, he wants to progress the ball
with Arsenal, especially with Moreno up front. By the way,
and he's just clogged. So that's a problem. So for Liverpool, it's like we have Woods, who's probably going to be more on the ball, who needs to be the engine, who needs more touches, who needs to be spraying the ball, and then he's not going to do that because Salah is the engine, and you have these two guys that need the ball. So one of them is kind of doesn't do much when he's on the pitch, and he's not an engine. He's not gonna be running back and forth, and he's not gonna be tackling people. He's not very physical. And then you just get all these players that are just these luxury type players, and it's just not working.
That I've noticed, Cal. I want to get your thoughts on this, right? So you think about how Arsenal set up. The reason why we're so good defensively is because we got attackers who are also really good off the ball. What I feel like happens with Liverpool's team is you got Salah, who doesn't want to defend, Wirtz, who doesn't want to defend, Ekitike doesn't want to defend, Gakpo, who doesn't want to defend, Isak, when he's healthy, also doesn't want to defend. And so basically you have got your midfielders. By the way, Alexis McAllister is a bit iffy when he's off the ball. Like, he's great to look at when he's on the ball. He's a great ball carrier as well. But when he's off the ball, so that means you're basically putting a lot of stress on Ryan Gravenberch and your back four.
And then we've been seeing in interviews he's told Gravenberch not to come back. So it's like, oh yeah, Gravenberch could progress the ball. So this is also a slot thing.
Do you agree with what I said though? It's way too imbalanced. It wasn't thought. There wasn't a thought process. It's like they were playing FIFA rather than actually thinking about real life. Hey, what are the more than just, hey, this guy is an amazing baller. What other attributes do they bring to my team that can make this team complete on both sides?
I think you said something unfair, a little unfair there. It's this, which is, and I think you're giving it too much credit in the unfairness. You said they don't want to defend. I don't think it's that they don't want to defend. It's not their thing. Like, defending is an attribute. It's an actual attribute that people have that you're good at. The ability to close down space, see things happen before they happen from a defensive standpoint. That, like, they don't do that. They don't have that kind of engine. They literally, I don't think you cannot repurpose words. You can't just tell him, hey, I need you to run back here and do some defending. It's just going to do a shit job because it's not his game. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't think these players have it in them. Like, Salah is like, what, 35? You think he's going to be, he can't do that. He can't do it. And that's part of the construction.
He made a system last year to allow him that free role, and because he had Trent and he had others in there that could help support him and make sure that he had a bit of free role. He also, by the way, had Jota, who I mean, of course, you can't blame the club for this. I'm not, by the way, just, you know what I mean, and I will respect him. But Jota, of all the forward players, had tremendous work rate, and again, Luis Diaz. Diaz is
an amazing
a presser. He's a great off the ball. He defends off the ball. He supports you in defense. That means you got more players who are committing into those things. So if you have just a Mo Salah who's allowed a free roll, that's fine. You've got
also
9 other outfield
also
players.
Nunez, by the way, he's
Nunez also is a great presser. Yeah,
they got rid of all their engines, all their players with like that's all the runners. The only one left.
They got rid of engines for sailboats. Like players like to drift and like look, like, you know, love to look fancy on the ball. Florian Wirtz, for all his qualities, is never ever been a defensive type of player. That player, you think of the players who played behind him at Bayer Leverkusen. Like, now that you've seen them all, we saw one on the weekend that used to play for us. Granit Xhaka plays a large part.
Yeah. Like having Granit Xhaka behind you.
Nkapie plays a large part in that. So like, they had players who had other responsibilities. Xabi Alonso built a machine, a system which had all these hard workers, and you had this little bubble engine in the middle. I wouldn't even call him engine, just a floater in the middle of Wirtz, who is allowed to kind of play street ball, and he doesn't have that stress that he has to deal with now, and it's a different league.
Like, and he's like, he thinks he's allowed to play. Like, dude, you don't have Xavi, Iniesta, and Messi. Like, you don't. You can't have lightweight ballers. You know what I'm saying? And even now in the Prem, and like, you have to be so much better than everyone else to play that kind of football. It's unbelievable, because you need to be able to like literally not like where the physicality doesn't affect you as much, because you're just that good on the ball. Like, you need to be able to just completely slip past players to play like that, and he doesn't have that.
Cal, I just want to say, all the stuff that we've talking about, my premise in the summer when everybody was going nuts about how good this Liverpool team is I was pretty confident this is where it was going. They looked flashy on paper, and I was allowed them to get the plaudits and enjoy signing, because we all love signings, right? But I always kind of looked at that and I'm like, yeah. The Isak thing a little bit. At one point, I was like, that's a bit crazy. You got that front three. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what, let it happen, because it's gonna be
Yeah.
And here's another thing, though, and I gotta give credit to Kane. Okay, Kane was saying this, and I think he said it on a different stream when they were talking about all the rumors, but prior to him signing, and he said he thought that the difference between playing at Newcastle and playing at Liverpool is that at Newcastle he's got lost space of operating. Like Bruno and Tonali just drop that ball into spaces for Isak to run into, which he doesn't get in Liverpool. Like when you're Liverpool, same like when you're Arsenal, you have all these teams who are going to sit low and sit deep. You're never going to get that space to run out into. And that's the same issue sort of Gyökeres has had at Arsenal too, which he had all those spaces to run into at Sporting. And that's why I was like, so you already have an Ekitike who needs space to run into. You're going to add another one that needs space to run into, but you don't have a striker who,
to be fair,
play with his back to goal.
Ekitike has done better with his back. Like
I gotta give
he's more. Ekitike is way more technical than Isak. Like on the ball, like Ekitike, in terms of potential, he has high potential in Isak. Like if you've seen this guy play for France, and like you seen him at the start of the season. I know it doesn't look like that right now, but watching him play for France and then watching him at the start of the season, this guy can dribble past like a couple players and score a goal. Like he can do that. Like it's just a shame he plays for bloody France, and getting into that France team is like, it's like you need to be at like an Avengers level threat to get into
the best striker in the world. Potentially, Kylian Mbappe plays up front for France, so that's a toughie.
But
and he got Dembele in that team.
It's very hard. It's very hard. But like, for Isak, I think it's gonna be pretty tough. And when you're talking about Isak, look who you're talking about played behind him. Freaking Tonali and Bruno G, like engines, like playing behind him. You know what I'm saying? So
this is the funniest take, by the way, Cal. And Hasama said it like 7 times, and each time I'm like, I wish I was on the stream with you right now, bro, so I can rip this to shreds. He keeps saying, why doesn't he play Wirtz and Isak at the same time? And I'm like, bro, first of all, you haven't seen that. Secondly, Isak didn't have a Wirtz at Newcastle. He had Tonali and Bruno. There was no 10. You think Joe Linton is the reason why Isak was doing great? No. That's not even like you see, in the formula of which Isak was playing his best ball of his career, he did not have a Florian Wirtz in his team. So where are you getting this notion from? He has no excuses for me. He like McAllister and Gravenberch. I actually gotta say, I actually think that's not as good as Bruno and Tonali. Crazy enough to say, to think about. I'm just putting him out, but he still has those type of players that essentially.
Now, McAllister, come on, dude, come on, like. McAllister and Gravenberch is better than Bruno and Tonali.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just thinking about the way McAllister and Gravenberch have played this season, and maybe it's just flooded
like
my
don't
mind
let this season like cloud your judgment, because
but you get my point. Like
this is like what Slot's doing to this team is actually like a crime against football, because he has completely made all these Liverpool players look like absolute dog shit, to the point where you're saying that
even Salah and Van Dijk, bro.
Or they've kind of like, well, they're getting older, but like this is his fault. Like this is Slot's fault. Like I know like the players have a lot to blame for them, but like tactically, you don't lose to Man City 3-0. Like tactically, that should not happen. That should never happen. Not to these players. And I know you said that you didn't, at the end of the window, you were saying that you think this team's not going to be very good. I thought they were going to be good. I still thought they were favorites. I thought we would still like take them to like the last day. I thought that we would still have a really, really good chance of winning the league. Because, in my mind, I saw, Mbappe go to the best, team in the world and not win anything. So I was still, I still knew that you don't just put all these plays together and it just works. But I thought it would be a lot better than this.
But even our team, like I was just giving us praise about, whatever. Even our team, we haven't stuck them together. It just works. You've seen a lot of them having to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we still offensively I mean, you can hear all the chatter people talk about how we don't score many from open play. Offensively still as well, that's where I feel confident as well, is that we still have to put it together. But I'm happy with the platform, the consistency, with the players we've got around them to allow the freedom to put that together. Like, but even for us, like it's a big risk that you take when you make so many signings, especially half of them being starters, and expecting it to click right away.
Yeah. Thing is,
and even for
is,
City, it's taken City a while. I mean,
yeah.
again, a lot of those guys were injured. Like Shirky was injured. They still haven't gotten Ait Nuri back. You know, Reinders, I think the last couple of games has been better, but he as well. Like I don't.
How long is Rodri out for?
Yeah, I don't know. That's the other thing though.
He's still in the incubator.
They can bring him back.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, City is the team that I think I'm not sitting here poking holes in them as much as I can with Liverpool. I think the holes with Liverpool were evident, but I'm done laughing at them. I know you brought it up as a topic here and you allowed me to do it again. At this point, guys, and I hate to spoil the tears for all my loyal viewers, but I put them as top 4 ceiling because for me, I don't see any difference in form. Ceiling.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I don't see any difference at the moment between them and Chelsea in terms of the consistency. I know it hurts to hear that.
Yeah,
that's just the truth.
There's no circumstance.
And you're allowed to like win and then have a bad result and win and have a bad result and still make top 4. But you can't do that if you want to challenge for the title.
Yeah.
And for me,
I think
they lost 4 games all season last year, and that includes at the end of the year when they took their foot off the gas and they were at the beach. Before then, I believe they were on like 2 defeats, right? Now they've lost 5. By the way, put that into context, they played 11. That's nearly half of the games they played are losses. So I look at that type of form, and that's not a championship form. And you can say, oh, they're going to turn it around. Well, I've been waiting for them to turn it around for almost 3 months.
Yeah, even
eventually,
if they turn it around,
they are what you're seeing. Eventually,
even if they turn it around, I don't think they win at this point. They've lost too many at this point, and
they have to catch not just us, but City too.
Yeah, that's just it's very, very weird. You know, they shouldn't be where they are. They're below Manchester United, which is absolute.
Yeah, I know.
Like they're below. Are they? I think they're below Bournemouth as well.
They're 8th. I know that for a fact.
That's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, but I just how sometimes I love how football is. So the team that I said this last week, in the case that this would happen, the team that was meant to be running away with the Premier League is out of contention after the 11 games.
Yeah, it's not looking good for them, and I think
so. Yeah, they're at Bournemouth are behind them. So it's Arsenal, City, Chelsea, Sunderland, Spurs, Villa, United, Liverpool. So you can say they're behind Villa. They're behind Spurs, they're behind Sunderland.
Yeah. And on the whole slot out thing, I don't agree with that. I think you don't sack a manager who won you the league the season after. Unless he finishes in the bottom half of the table, I don't think you get rid of him.
Look,
he's allowed to have a shit season.
If I'm Liverpool, this is what I would do, because this is the way I felt last year, right? When I felt we were throwing it away, I'm like, you know what? Whatever happens this season happens, whatever. I think we're going to go have an awesome transfer window. That's not necessarily what's going to happen for Liverpool, because I don't know if they can do that considering the amount of money they spent.
But this they can do that, is that whether they will.
But this is what I would say. No, it's not that. Well, that's not the point I was making, but that was what we needed to do. But what they need to do, they just need to figure out this system now without the pressure, being able to realize where these players play their best. Let Wirtz get used to the Premier League and learn through playing. Let some of these players learn through playing. And next year, that talent is still there. You've figured out sort of something that might work, a formula that might work with the players that you've got. And then I think that next year they can be much more of a threat. But I wouldn't throw Slot out with the bathwater, because he's already shown you that he is a title-winning manager, right? And they just need to kind of, like, without the pressure, just figure everything out and then go again next year. Because I think next year, Liverpool's team might be what you thought they were supposed to be this year.
The only caveat to that is that we all knew that it was a carry job by Mohamed Salah. Like, we knew that. Like,
that's the other thing. I remember.
Yeah, we knew, like, he had like literally one of the best seasons in Premier League history as an individual, like on his own. So
that's the other thing.
And also Liverpool were never under like any real pressure in the title race. They just ran away with it. So as soon as they're the first like real wobble, like Slot is completely crumbled. And he needs to show that he's able to do something at the back end of the season, or soon or whenever. If the season goes by, and even if he does finish in the top half, but he doesn't show any consistency and he doesn't show any real spine, I'm not sure if he's the guy. I don't know, because at the end of the day, like Salah did like an absolute madness, So yeah.
Yeah. Look, here's the thing. We probably should close out this topic because we got other stuff and we're almost at the hour mark. But one thing I would maybe pose the question to you, Cal, and I know this is going to sound harsh and it's going to sound crazy, but I've seen this. This is when you do high level sports. Sometimes you just need to realize when it's time to move on. For me, just seeing Salah's attitude this year and his application and how he picks his spots, it seems like it's someone who's running out of gas. And I think they made a mistake of giving him a new contract, I think. But for me, if I was Liverpool and I was really building this team correctly, because you got the pieces though that can make up for that. So suddenly you take Salah out, you got Wirtz, who you're gonna say will be a year into his Premier League career, probably much more used to the league. He's a creative force. He's still got all that talent is still there. He can be a creative force. You got Isak, who's a goal scorer who can get in behind. What I would do is get myself a right winger who's not necessarily like world class, but has got a high work rate. Put him in there instead of Salah. So you got somebody who's just a little bit less of an ego, who is able to kind of put a little bit more on the defensive side of the ball and just trust in the pieces that you've picked up already, and maybe just sell Salah. And in that respect, maybe sell Van Dijk too. But maybe you only get one at a time. Maybe just start with Salah, keep Van Dijk, and then because obviously they got a lot of center backs that they need to deal with. Just get rid of Van Dijk now.
Yeah,
they got nobody in the wings to get him.
Yeah.
But with Salah, I think they'd be a better team if they had just that sort of game plan, because I think you get the best out of all the other guys that they got.
Yeah, the thing is, if Salah's in the team, he needs to be the outlet because he's not going to do anything defensively. So the team needs to be Woods centric. He needs to be the guy who's the creative player in the team. Like switch everything to be Woods centric. Make everyone do the work for Woods. To Woods and the strikers. Invest in engines on the left and right wing to facilitate and to help, and actually have a focus. Right now, there is no focus. You just have balls in the team.
Build a better base in terms of their double pivot. So like, as much as you can say Marino and Norgard doesn't sound like amazing when you say those names out loud, but what they both have is work rate, and if we need to put them in to close out a game, they can do that. And I don't feel like when they bring on, like, Curtis Jones changes the game in a different way, more going forward, but not necessarily is providing you a solid base to close out a game. And Endo, for me, I've just never really rated him as a player. It's like a huge drop off when you go Gravenberch to Endo. Norgard's not great with the ball at his feet, but he's amazing off the ball. And so when we're trying to defend a lead and we're taking off Zubi, at least we know that Norgard's got that defensive capabilities to close out a game. So that defensive side of a game is not as much of a drop off. So,
I
that's
agree.
kind of all I'll say.
I agree with that.